Good morning. This morning I'm back out in my black raspberry patch and I'm going to be pruning these primocanes, but right before I get there I just want to show you a few things. Today is July the 3rd of 2015. This is my second video about tending black raspberry plants in central Illinois. I spoke in the first video about my how much harvest I was gleaning, and I finally harvested 31.5 gallons from my 5 small patches. I lost several gallons due to heavy rain. This has been a terribly wet season. Right now in my patch there are 2 different types of canes, and of course these beautiful fluorescent ones are the primocanes, and that's what I'm going to be working on today. But however, if you notice back here, the dark brown is the fruiting cane from this season, and I will be working on those late winter. And this is what my primocane will do. After a while I'll speak about these lateral branches, but just notice how delicate that branch is. And when it has fruit on the end, maybe 10 or 12 berries, it's quite heavy. So therefore this pruning is very important. And remember that once this cane is pruned, and that means removing of this tip, and I'm going to be pruning this about shoulder height today. This cane will not grow any more in height, but right here you can see at these leaf nodes is where those lateral branches will start to grow for next season's fruit crop. On this primocane, I'm going to prune it about shoulder height. I don't want it too tall because once these lateral branches grow, it's going to be very heavy. I will attach this cane to my fence or to some kind of support depending on what patch I'm in. And also, if I don't allow it to be too tall, the fruit will be nice and large. You don't want to overburden any cane because they can only produce so much. I want to show you some of my primocanes that the deer nipped the tips. In other words, they pruned them for me about a month ago. Now this is a primocane that the deer came through, and right here is their original nipping that they did, and therefore the lateral branches started to grow immediately. And these lateral branches I will trim back to about 8 inches next spring. And then they came back and did the second job. So they even pruned one of the lateral branches. And because they did that, this I'm expecting will grow more lateral branches. So I'll have to do more pruning on this next year. And this is way too short. I don't like any of my primocanes to be pruned this short because the fruit's going to be way too close to the ground next year. There's not much special equipment needed for tending my raspberries, and once again I showed you my tool belt the last video. Just want to show you again. As you can see, I have my handy dandy gloves draped over them, but the tool pouch itself, of course, always have to have twine. And these are my wonderful hand pruners, and as you can see they're Felco number 2. They're Swiss made, and the reason I like them, first of all, they're handy as a pocket on a shirt. I can operate them one-handed, which I usually need to do, and I need to re-lube these, but they don't need much attention, and every part is replaceable on those. And of course I always have to have some kind of a kitchen shears. Apparently I really need them because I have 2 pair. And then I always keep extra latex type gloves. I always have to have wire pruners, and of course utility knife. So my little pouch doesn't get in the way, not too cumbersome, but it does hold quite a few tools, and I do have some wire down here and other things. Now I'm taking my handy dandy Felcos, and the main reason I'm pruning is because these canes are so beautiful and so heavy that they just fell over. I don't want them to grow like this, so I'm going to go ahead, get my handy dandy trash can here, and I just kind of bring them up and just prune them shoulder height. Some people are real picky exactly where they cut. I never have been, and I've never have lost any production because of that. Again, get them into a container. I don't like to throw them on the ground, then I have to come back and pick them up. I want to handle them one time and have it over with. And I will be going through all my patches and pruning everything. As you can see, some of these have already a pretty good kink in them. And I will just be tying these up to my fence as I come back through. And just one other note, just make sure you always wear a long sleeve shirt to protect yourself. Again, these gloves just fit wonderfully. And always wear good protective foot gear. And that's the end of this particular video. I'm going to be putting up 2 more in late winter. One will be when I come in and remove all of my fruiting canes. And as you can see, it's kind of a jungle in here, and it does take some work. I'm going to have to take out all of my twine that I have my bearing canes tied with. And so that'll be one video. Then the next one is the one patch that's real helter-skelter. I'm going to dig it all up and put them into straight rows, and I'm going to be selling all of my excess plants.